Well, it's like that Seinfeld's still putting out specials, and I'm like
There's like 5 jokes on 5 different specials that are the same.
I'll say this right to the camera. Seinfeld sucks. Dude, Seinfeld is a bad
It's a hot
comedian.
take. Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny. I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Jonny DeVito.
And we have a very special episode for you today. We have a pretty awesome gift.
Yeah.
Or gift.
Gifts.
Gift. We have an awesome gift for you who was a guest here for us.
Nice save. Hell yeah.
Somewhat one of our favorite local comedians,
Oh,
someone who we've looked up to since we started comedy, and
the infinitely hilarious Sean McDonnell on the show.
Yeah.
For any of you that are looking for, your new favorite comedian, go on Spotify, check out his album All in My Head.
And if you happen to be local, now that comedy is reopening, I'm sure he's going to be everywhere. So,
absolutely.
give him a follow on Instagram. Oh, we didn't get him to plug his. Follow him at I want to say Sean McDonnell. I think
so.
That's his
Yeah,
Instagram handle.
We'll put all that in the links.
Yeah, exactly. And while we got you here, if you're watching on YouTube, throw us a subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, follow us on Instagram at Show Me Yours Podcast, like us on Facebook, Show Me Yours Pod.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating.
If you'd be so kind.
Yeah, rate us a little review. And now that housekeeping is out of the way, we have other things to discuss briefly before we get into this.
Yeah, this
fun
is exciting,
episode.
Jackie. What do you have for me today here? Because I'm not familiar with news from the sea like you are. I think.
Yeah. So we have some sea news for you. So basically, it has come to light that some of the photos that we see of the Loch Ness Monster, who is obviously based out of Scotland in the River Ness, Nessie, she goes by.
Yes.
We all love her. We haven't talked about Nessie too much yet on
Is
this show.
it the River Ness or is like a loch like a lake?
It's the.
Am I getting that backwards?
You're right. It's the River Ness that empties into the Loch Ness, like the lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like a freshwater. So Nessie would be considered a freshwater. Freshwater phenomena.
Yeah,
Something
when I
like a
went
freshwater
to
phenomena.
a freshwater phenomenon.
Nice.
Yeah, when I went to Scotland, one of the places we went, Inverness, was right along the River Ness, and that's where Nessie. But Nessie does sort of. I think her home base is the lake. It gives her a bit more room. The river is pretty narrow for a
probably
for
like
broad
a spawning
like that.
situation, like a salmon. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if the Loch Nessi swim upstream for
we don't know that, right? It's purely speculation at this point, but I think it wouldn't hurt to maybe just say emphatically right now that that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? It's probably not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to take that kind of liberty to do this, I think that we can even take the next liberty that this piece of propaganda has decided to take.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So what are they trying to say?
So experts are saying that perhaps some of these photos that we see of Nessie caught sort of looking around outside of the waters are in fact whale penises.
Now this is interesting to me because like Nessie is like very distinctive, kind of like the one hump out of the back, not like the Ogopogo, which was normally characterized as like a dragon, many humps coming out of the water or whatever, right? So Nessie, you have your classic kind of like humpback design, almost like a long neck dinosaur situation I've always pictured. So now they're going to try to tell me that every whale penis in a freshwater body of lake in Scotland has like a candy cane curve to the tip.
And like,
get the fuck out of here.
Where, what whales live in lakes like this?
It's such a such a ridiculous attempt. You know what I mean? To try
Right,
to throw
to
people
try-
off the
Yeah.
track. Maybe they're getting too close, and now like that. Now this is when the government's trying to scramble. You know, somebody's got to. You know, the media is owned by like 4 people or whatever, right? I
Yeah.
assume that there's nothing different about this organization.
It could be that
And,
they're trying to
you know,
cover up.
Just trying to spread misinformation.
Because like the shape is definitely similar, but the color absolutely not. The photos of the side by side that I saw, whale penises are quite pale, whereas the photos that we see of Nessie, she's of a darker tone.
So you've done some further investigation into this?
Oh yeah,
Okay, Jackie, can you break down what a whale penis looks like for me?
it's like
Because they're mammals too, right?
yeah, it does not look like a human penis.
Oh, bummer. That would
Yeah.
be fucking hilarious if it did. If it was just
It's
hung
just
down like
like
a
a
rudder
big-
on a sailboat. It's what stabilizes them in the water.
Yeah, just a big ol' uncircumcised whale dong.
That would be hilarious if like plankton or other sea creatures kind of like feed off of like the tip, and then as like you know like a mature whale by like its like solid circumcision. You know what I
Right.
mean? Over years of
It's
of
also
other
how you
animals
know if
hiding
they're
them.
Jewish or not.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, whales are mammals, and they're probably the only other that take their religion so seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and the Jews have been persecuted for a millennia, but none more,
Than the whale Jews.
of course.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that tale's as old as time.
Yeah.
We've all known
That whale tail is old as time.
Love a good whale tail. That reminds me of like grade 7 so much. Like there's a time where like low cut jeans
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
like you know thong. You know, your friends are like, oh, look.
Yeah.
Those were the good days.
Not even just like because I feel like now. I think thongs are more in now, but that a proper whale tail is with like the G string.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, no, actually, I would disagree because the G string you get like the T at the top.
But I mean the G string with the triangle.
Oh, like very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of
Yeah,
course,
like
of
where
course,
that
of course. Yeah.
definitely
yeah,
where
yeah.
the fin
yeah.
kind of comes out there. Yeah, I can't say that anything else was as captivating as like as a young boy, and also like this was in the 90s and early 2000s, so like the low cut kind of jean, Sheryl Crow, man, I feel like a woman. Like these were the times.
Sheryl Crow, man, I feel
I
like a
don't fucking
woman.
listen.
I
There's
think you
Shania.
mean
My
Shania
fault.
Twain, man, I feel like a woman.
What does Sheryl Crow sing?
I'm gonna soak up the sun.
Oh, my fault, Jackie. Shit. That's why we have the show, so I can learn these things.
Your 90s goddesses, right?
That's why we have the show, so I can learn these things, right?
But yeah. So other than, I mean, like, I don't really know how to describe a whale penis other than like it's girthy, and they're very pale, like a pale pink color.
Yeah.
And it did sort of have like a similar shape to a Loch Ness monster with
But
a
like
little
whales, like in every depiction of a whale I've ever seen, they're always missing one piece.
I would assume that it's like a retractable type situation. Otherwise, we would have been talking about whale dicks for years now.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. If they were,
Yeah.
you know, just
out
more
and
in
about.
the public eye, I feel like we would know more about them.
Yeah.
And it would come up more in conversation just
And
regularly.
like, how often are whales just lying like breech with like their dicks up
Not one time have I
sticking
seen
out of the
one.
sea?
Have I seen one, right? So
Yeah.
already, like, you're kind of getting like you're taking some liberties with Nessie and with the behavior of some whales.
Yeah.
That seems kind of interesting. Like, actually, how do whales even have sex? Like, is it kind of like a swim by and deposit kind of situation, or like, because if a whale has like a big old hammer on him, is he like, you know, pumping in and out?
I don't think it's a pumping situation. I
So it'd be
think
like
that
an
the
insert and-
female, kind of is just like
That's a
there, and I
bummer.
think it's just sort of an insert and deposit withdraw type situation.
But dolphins have sex for fun, though, I've heard.
yeah, I've heard that too.
How do they do that?
I don't know. I feel like they have a bit more flexible backs.
There's a little
like
more
they
elegance
can,
to the dolphin,
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yeah.
Like they got a nice curvature. They
Ooh,
can kind
love
of
a good
hit.
curve. Love a good curve. You know, it's that arch that really makes the difference.
Exactly.
I think, right?
Yeah. That's why dolphins are so sexy and whales not so much.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's important.
But right before I came here, I found another whale story. Or I didn't even find it. It just fell into my lap.
Fantastic.
I don't know if you've heard this, but a guy recently, a scuba diver, was eaten by a whale and lived to tell the tale.
So he got like swallowed and spit out?
So basically, he was scuba diving,
Yeah.
and it was a big humpback whale.
Yeah.
And it's unclear how it happened. Probably the whale was just like, fishing for plankton and stuff, because how they eat is they just swim with like their mouths a little bit open. And so he got sucked up and like didn't realize what had happened. His first thought was that he'd been eaten by a shark, but then he realized he was just like sitting in the mouth and he wasn't surrounded by teeth, and he was like, oh fuck, I'm in a whale mouth right now. And so he was in there for like a minute or something.
Did he find
like
a little man with a candle and a pen,
Right.
writing letters to home? That is fucked up.
Right, but basically the whale just spit him out, because whales don't eat humans. They don't want humans. And
Not
so the
even a
whale
little
was
bit?
probably like, what is this?
Oh, I guess he's
And
covered
then,
in like a wetsuit and like an oxygen tank and
yeah,
shit.
but humpback whales don't eat like other animals. Like just like the
Really?
plankton. Yeah.
How does a thing that's that big
Right?
only eat like
They eat a
microscopic
lot
fair
of
enough,
plankton and krill and stuff like that.
Seems like a weird design for an animal. Like if you're gonna be the
Right?
size of a fucking school bus, you'd think you could like eat something like the size of a car every now and then.
Yeah, but no,
Right?
he didn't have a taste for humans. He just spit them out.
Well, what a lucky guy.
Right?
But did anybody witness it?
Yeah. He had it like his diving partner.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't want to like immediately discredit the thing, but it's just like such a
Such a
tales
weird-
from the sea. Like the fish was
Totally.
this bit. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of liars out there on them shores.
And I feel like that's sort of like a fear, maybe not like everywhere. Certainly like when I was growing up, where I was growing up,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was like a common like sort of, you're going to get eaten by a whale type thing. And like the idea of like being in like a whale's mouth and like being
Jack,
like,
the
oh.
idea of me just being at sea is fucking terrifying. I won't even go on a boat with you and your family. The idea of being like swallowed up by a whale, that would suck, I think, more than like the shark attack, because the shark attack is fucking metal, right? Like at some point, like hopefully it
Yeah.
just gets a leg, and then you're like shark attack John for like the rest of my life. I'm like, I get like a shitty shark tooth necklace or whatever, right?
Right.
Long flow California accent,
Right.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
Chabra.
Yeah.
Have nothing to do with surfing, right? Didn't even lose my leg in California, but that's the kind of attitude that you have to adopt in
Of
this
course.
kind of situation.
Yeah.
So, if you just get swallowed by a fucking whale and you're just like inside of it, right? Like I imagine it would be like, I don't know, like what a poop inside a butt would feel like, right? Like it would just be like, it's just walls of flesh and there's just nothing there for you, right? It's a cavernous place for you to die. I think
Yeah. And
that's fucking terrifying.
I guess after he's been flooded with questions, and one
Sure.
of the big questions he keeps
Did he
getting
get hard?
I don't know that.
Because like it
I've-
could also be like a penis inside a vagina. Like,
It could
wow.
be, yeah.
This
And
feels-
now that's the only way he can get hard now.
Well, I
It's
mean,
going inside of a whale's mouth.
the kink level, like it just gets
Yeah.
to the extreme, right? And well, I mean, it's his fault for pushing the boundaries from such a young age.
That's true, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? He could have crushed his finger out a bowling alley and could have had the similar situation, right? It's just like what gets him this week,
Yeah.
you know? So that's just a pervert.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's a fucking pervert.
You heard it here
What-
first.
But yeah, a question that he got was is a whale's tongue smooth like a dog's or scratchy like a cat's?
Ooh,
And
good
he
question.
said that unfortunately the mouth was filled with water, so he wasn't able to tell what the natural texture of the
yeah.
tongue was.
Also, he was probably like
Not
thinking,
focused
holy
on
fuck,
that.
I'm in a whale right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
And he was
not, like-
lucky he had his scuba gear, because like the mouth was filled with water. Like he could have drowned. It could have been death by drowning within a whale's mouth.
Ooh, there's levels to that.
Yeah.
How do they even find you after that too? Because like if
Right?
a whale's gonna, take you out to sea or whatever, and then like it's kind of It's a weird burial at sea kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Well, I'm not, I wouldn't be against being buried if I was already dead.
Yeah, but you're from the sea, though. Like, for me, I'm like, not a fucking chance. Man. I want to like do what my people have done, and fucking be a waste of space in the ground for a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, fertilize something or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, mushroom suit.
Absolutely. Check the previous episodes for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, I think I would rather be buried in a mushroom suit than drown in a whale mouth. But if he were to have drowned and then the whale spit him out and his body was later found, everyone would have just assumed that it was a terrible scuba accident and he just drowned, like he ran out of oxygen or whatever.
What if it spit him out at a very inopportune place and like his family just started judging him? You know what I mean? Like, takes him to Epstein's Island or something, and that's where he washed up. Like, hey, we always knew something was up with that guy, right? You're never going to be able to shake that off.
No, I wonder if that's happened before. If someone has drowned within the mouth of a whale, got spit out, and he was just presumed regular drowning. We had no way of knowing. I
mean, if there's like 8 billion people like on Earth and like crazy shit has just been happening for like millennia, then like I have this kind of thought that like if you can think of anything being humanly possible, like not only has somebody done it, but somebody is currently like making money off of it right now.
Yeah.
So that's terrifying, right?
That's true,
like I mean, so there's probably some profiteers right now in the whale human swallowing kind of game or whatever, kind of thinking of like an underground Fight Club or like snuff film kind of situation like that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
On a similar note, and tying it back to the first story, I'm surprised that like whale dicks aren't like a delicacy. You know, the way that they make like.
Well, if there's
shark
5
fins
feet of them, then maybe there's every fishmonger is like, fuck, I got 10 pounds of whale dick over here. I wish somebody would take. He's giving it away.
They put it. It's like in the restaurant. They put it in the seafood chowder with all just to.
It just goes. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Too much ground beef in your meatballs. You know, something a little bit cheaper to fill it out. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if like anybody they make puffer fish, right, that are fucking poisonous unless you like perfectly handle it, right?
God,
and properly
I know.
prepare it
At
one
that
way,
point it's
right?
like who
you
the
tell
fuck
me there's not one person out there snacking on whale dick? There's not one guy who's just like, every time I go to a Boston Pizza, I always get a Boston Brute. Ever since I was a little kid, it's just like an Italian sandwich and I love it, right? So there's got to be one guy at like the Asian equivalent,
right?
Because I'm assuming, I don't know, who else is eating that much I was eating that much whale, right? So I'm assuming it's fucking
yeah.
Funky
it
shit
must
like
be
that.
because there definitely are some cultures where they will eat. They will hunt. Oh, fuck. I learned this on my
like the whale blubber and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
well, yeah, and there are certain like indigenous cultures where they're allotted like to hunt one whale per year or whatever, and the village, like they'll eat the whole whale and it'll sustain everyone in the community. So you think at that point they gotta be doing something with the dick.
Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, nothing can go to waste on this thing. Right?
Yeah.
What if it's like a tree stump and it's like inedible? Like, what if you have to cook it down? What if it's really dense?
It's like
a whale. Like, I mean, you gotta think, right?
Well, similar to what we discussed with eating human dicks.
Yeah.
Like you would have to assume it's pretty tough, pretty tendony.
Yeah.
Probably not the best part of anything to eat.
It would take some serious technique, I think, to cook that properly.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be like like beef cheeks are probably some of the best, beef that you're gonna have, but it takes a little longer to cook them.
Yeah, you want to. It's a slow cooker, that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to soften it up.
Oh, definitely, right? And tongue too. Actually, I want lengua tacos. You want to get some tacos?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
go for some tacos.
Right on. No, it's hot as hell out here. But sorry, get back to whales
Getting
in
back
general.
to the issue at hand.
Yeah, the issue at hand. Like, I love a good whale story because they're so fantastic to me. And when I'm in grade 6, right, we get a substitute teacher. Maybe he was a student teacher. I think he was just like learning how to be a teacher. This guy was old as fuck. He had ear hair and shit. He was a fucking asshole, and he didn't like me. I don't know why. Anyway,
it's always weird when you're a kid.
And an adult has singled you out.
And
like,
or I was gonna say, and an adult has ear hair.
Oh, sorry. The ear hair was
when you
trippy.
when you notice it coming out, and it's always like a teacher or
Jackie,
something
it was
like
like
that, where you
2-inch
like
curly,
can't really
long
say
hair.
anything, and you're like, oh God, I had a teacher. We'll get back to
Sure,
your-
yeah, no.
I had a teacher in grade 8. I have to say his name for this story to be whatever.
Let it fly, fuck 'em.
His name was Barry Luff. And if your name rhymes with Harry Muff,
Oh,
don't become
yeah.
a middle school teacher.
That is
We fucking
awesome.
tortured this teacher. I won't get into all the stories now, but there are a lot of stories. And he had a lot.
So
of
he had to work around children every day that just reminded him that
we were
his name
vicious.
was.
We were brutal.
That's
and
cool.
But and he was
Harry
like an
Muff.
older guy, and he was sort of a little bit strange. But anyways, he had all of this chest hair. And one day my friend like noticed him sort of looking down and like sort of puffing it out of his like
He
his
loves
polo.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Was he like Italian dirtball kind of puffed
No,
up
he was
chest,
like
or
an old white guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something cool about an old man with chest hair to me that's just always going to be greasy, right? There's never
Yeah.
anything legitimate
Yeah.
that you're going to find about that person. Like
Yeah.
he's screwed over several people on used car deals and stuff like that, right? He's got a few transactions pending. We
Yeah.
we can say, right?
Yeah.
Greaseball, the more Italian, the greasier.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the 6th grade, we had
Yes.
to do a little current events project where everybody brings in a piece of news, and all the news like sucked. Like, I don't care who the prime minister is, and I don't give a shit about whatever was in the news at that time. And then I come across a story that a whale washed up on this small town beach. And all the locals were like, how the fuck do we get this thing out of here? To the point that it became like an issue, right? Because
Right.
now it starts to rot, and this
It
thing
is
like,
an issue. Yeah.
yeah, it's a fucking school bus, right?
Yeah.
That's just like decaying meat, and you smell it for miles and miles. And
Well, then that draws in other animals too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cougars, bears. Yeah.
So what this town decided to do, and now you can find the video of this on YouTube, and it's fucking fantastic. We should put a link to it, or just YouTube. Town explodes a whale on a
God.
beach. Jackie, there's fucking news coverage,
no.
like Camera 5 or News Channel 5 is there and shit.
Why?
It's fucking awesome because because they're at town hall,
Yeah.
and some fucking maniac
Was
is sitting in
blow
the
it
back.
up.
That he's just like, no, like not only like is this an issue? I have like 100 pounds of explosives at the fucking house. Like, we could do this now. You know what I mean? I was got to have been some fucking guy like that, camo hat, couple tooth. He's probably like chewing dip while the town hall meeting is going.
I got enough explosives to blow up a whale in my
He
garage
fucking
right
just
now.
nails
yeah.
on the chalkboard like Jaws, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, get
Yeah.
the fuck out
Yeah.
of here, right? Like, this guy, I'm assuming that's how it happened, right? Because
Yeah.
there's no way that a group of logical human beings came to this conclusion at the end of the day, right? Like, there
Right.
could have been a
Yeah.
million other ways to do it, but Dale's like, no, like, this won't cost you anything, and trust me, I want to do it. Like, allow me to.
Oh my god.
So, I can't remember exactly.
How does the whole community agree on this?
I have no idea, but it's fucking awesome, right? So already at this point, I'm in grade 6, and I'm given the, a very, very impassioned, speech or retelling of this current event in front of my class, and my teacher and this fucking student teacher guy, whatever his name was, they're both kind of like looking at me like, okay, like this kid is full of shit.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely wasn't, but it was crazy. So I'm telling the whole story. Basically, they explode the fucking thing, and they
Yeah.
figured that all of this explosives would just vaporize this fucking whale to nothing. Not the case, Jackie.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so the decision was to explode the whale into oblivion.
Yes.
And they just assumed that with enough explosives, the whale would cease to exist.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, they did it to a fucking cement truck on Mythbusters, right? Like, I don't know exactly what
that's
explosives are
true.
capable of, but fucking Dale didn't have the right ones there that day, or didn't use enough of them, whatever the situation is.
Oh my god.
This fucking whale explodes into like a million fucking pieces, and you just see shrapnel raining down from the sky. So now you think you have a fucking problem. Now,
you have whale bits.
You were good
everywhere,
a couple minutes ago.
yeah.
You were totally fine a couple minutes ago. Now
At
you
least
just
it
fucked
was a
up.
contained unit.
Exactly. Right?
Oh my
now you
God.
fucked up because you have scavengers coming for miles, and you know
Yeah,
how
now
long it's
the
gonna take
whole
them to fucking
town's
eat that
fucking
shit.
gonna be overrun.
Right?
Oh
and there's
my
like
God.
one. I think there's just like one smart like older lady, right?
Yeah.
I picture a large black woman just sitting in the back going, I
Must
fucking
be.
told you
Must
so.
be. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
dumb fucking idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the voice of reason needs to come down from above
Yeah.
because like I was so enthralled
Yeah.
by it, and the class like, Jesus Christ, that's the best story of the week,
Yeah.
easily, right? Like whoever's bringing in, gas prices on the rise can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
This is news, baby.
Yeah.
And I deliver the presentation, and at the end of it, they just call me a fucking liar.
What the hell?
Yeah. And it was just like internet news or whatever.
Yeah,
right? I just
yeah,
read it
yeah.
on like an early, Google search or whatever,
Yeah.
fucking 2001 or something like that. Nothing else really happened that year
Yeah.
that was newsworthy. So
Mm-hmm.
I was so bummed. I just like walked back to my desk and I was like, how does, like everybody else is like, good job, Timmy, good job, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just do mine, and like I get a couple laughs or whatever, and they just tell me that I'm lying and that this
Even
didn't exist.
if say you did fabricate
Looking
this
at you,
whole
Mrs. Lupieri.
if you did fabricate this whole story, what a story to make up,
You get
If
extra
you're
credit for the
"Hmm,
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Because that has so many twists and turns.
Oh, I know. I'm still fascinated about the story of 20 years later.
If you're living in that town and all of a sudden your town is overrun with whale debris? What do you leave? Or do you stick with it and like
You go to the garage and you grab all those explosives that you've been waiting
Yeah.
for. You've been saving for a rainy
But
day.
I mean like post explosion.
Oh,
when the
post-explosion.
city
Oh,
when
sorry.
the whale bits have just rained down upon this town now and it's just everywhere. Like do you stick it out? Or are you going, there's no fucking way I'm living in this town filled that's now covered in bits of whale. Like I've got to go.
To be honest, I think for me, I'm just going to just be a little bit more relaxed on the personal hygiene kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
at that
if
point
everything
you're like
smells like a fish
everything's
market,
gone to fucking shit
fuck
now.
it, right? Like
Until
let's get dirty.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's about time for my arrival.
Yeah.
At that point, I think.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Well, we're at 27. Should we?
Yeah,
should we
yeah,
get into it?
yeah. Well, without further ado, here's Shawnee.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest in the house tonight. You can check out his fantastic comedy album anywhere that good comedy is found. Buy it if you're not a pussy. All in My Head is the name of the album. We have one of the funniest men in Vancouver, ladies and gentlemen. Sean McDonnell is in the house. Talking Ride the Lightning, Metallica.
You also saying like buy it if you're not a fucking pussy is so funny. I'm just like bullying them into buying my album.
little bit,
Yeah, we're
I'd be
trying
like,
to
"You
get
fucking
you a bump
bitch,
here.
you're
Yeah.
Well, at the end of this, I feel like they'll go off your own merits. You know what I mean? They'll definitely check it out. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
But at
we
least it's
so
set it
funny.
up for you.
Of
You
like
gotta-
seeing that someone streamed it on Spotify and being like, "You coward!" This is fucking awesome, dude.
full disclosure, I streamed it on Spotify.
Yeah.
But
I literally, I want to make it clear too. I'm fine if people stream it on Spotify. That's like the thing. I'm like,
As long
who
as
the
you're
fuck
listening to
buys
it.
albums anymore? I love Ride the Lightning. I haven't bought it yet. I'm still fucking streaming it.
Jesus, keep your voice down, man. That's kind of the whole point of the show. But I
we
love
don't
that.
buy music
Well,
here.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about, no, I've done it. Like, it's actually funny that we're talking about Metallica because when they went after Napster years ago,
Yeah.
I collect albums, right? It's not. It's. I mean, I'd love to buy them, but it's almost become like an obsession or and a collection. So if I ever see something that I love that is like a physical copy and it's in my hand and I'm at the store, I'm fucked, right? I have to take it home. But when they go after Napster, like there's a point where I want it for free, right? I already own it on CD, and in some cases, when I started collecting vinyl, now I have like 2 copies. Right? How many fucking times do I have to buy the Offspring Smash before you fucking
Right?
yeah, before I can listen to it on any other platform that I want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing too, is because when it was Lars, I think, who really spearheaded that. And when Lars like went after Napster with that, I don't remember, but I remember seeing accounts of it. I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not gonna buy it. Like, I want to make it clear, I love Metallica.
Oh yeah, we're pro
I
Metallica.
love almost everything. I even like Saint Anger.
Interesting.
I enjoyed parts of Saint Anger.
Okay.
But I was very much like, dude, fuck you. I'm gonna stream this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy this after you fucking went after all these people for Napster.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of lame.
Yeah, I don't really like it when like musicians take that kind of stance. They're like, don't stream our shit or whatever.
And that's
it's like,
it's like there's a bunch of new musicians that aren't getting any money.
Exactly.
They're not getting anything, and they're like, please just stream my stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
do this, please do this. Just listen to it. I just want it out there. And then to see these like huge artists get pissy about it is such a turn on.
Well, we were doing the research here. We've been watching. Metallica has some fantastic live footage, like the Binge and Purge stuff. So in 1985, they're selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
Off the strength of their first like 1 or 2 albums. So like,
dude, that was after
what's
their
the
tour,
door deal
wasn't it?
on a fucking arena show, right? I
Exactly.
imagine they're doing okay, right? Never
yeah,
mind
I think they're pretty well off.
Never mind the
Yeah.
album sold and stuff like that, but it's just a kind of an example of an artist not seeing the writing on the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, because whether they liked it or not, that Napster in general or any downloading like, as it evolved, opened so many people's eyes to Metallica. Where like in my neighborhood, it was fucking like required listening. Everybody knew what was going on or whatever. But I'm sure.
And that's the crazy thing too, is because like I found Metallica through my uncle, granted, and my cousins. But also because of LimeWire.
Yes.
Yeah,
like LimeWire, I remember
totally,
going on LimeWire and just going to the Metallica page and just like downloading everything off it and being like, all right, let's see what I like. And granted, it was most of it.
Totally.
But that is what fucking plugged it out there for me. So it's kind of lame to see them cut off what feels like an entire generation.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm not making any money off this.
Which is stupid, and which is funny because like your fanship now has like you could have picked any fucking album in the world to come on here and talk about, right? But it's funny that you found it that way.
And it's also like, dude, you guys are getting on people streaming this on LimeWire so much. I've seen you about 4 times in concert. I've paid the money for it. I've gone and seen you that many times in concert.
And a tour T-shirt at a Metallica show is not the $20 Voodoo Glow Skull shirt that I'm wearing.
Until it tore, I had a Death Magnetic T-shirt right up until about grade 9 or 10. And I remember wearing it for gym class, and it tore. And I was like, well, I guess this is fucking done with. But that shirt, I think, cost my uncle $40 or $50.
And you get your money's worth out of that thing. But like, I mean, the Voodoo Glow Skull shirt that I'm wearing right now, I got it at the side of a stage for like 15. You know what I mean? Right?
Dude, absolutely.
And that's kind of like you can see the different levels obviously as you go, because I love Iron Maiden, right? And when you go to like it's the whole
merch
thing.
on that fucking band in general. It feels like every tour they bust out new merch because they're like, we know people will get this.
Oh, it's Eddie. If you put Eddie in a especially when they come to Canada, now Eddie's wearing the Mountie uniform and all of that shit.
Oh
you take the
everyone
and put
fucking gets it.
I bet they do that in every goddamn country. If there's like when they go to Israel, they have like the Secret Service dudes or whatever.
They have a Palestine kid being like, please no, and people are like going in on them.
I mean, Iron Maiden's about $1, right? I'm sure they actually dude used his plane on like search and rescue missions and stuff like that. So I think we might be speaking out of turn. Yeah.
Well, I feel like a dick now.
No, fuck that. It was worth it. It was worth it.
I watched that documentary. Was it Flight 666?
Yeah,
I remember that. That came out. What was that, like 2011?
I think so. It was a lot of time has passed since, and it still holds up. It's amazing that didn't he overcame throat cancer and all of that shit? Like,
yeah, it feels like the amount of metal singers too huge metal singers that overcome throat cancer. Because didn't Dave Mustaine
just recently?
Yeah. Dave Mustaine got through it. It's pretty crazy.
That's weird. I wonder what like the correlation is there. If it's
I
just
imagine
like
cocaine and screaming your lungs.
Yeah, that would do it.
Cigarettes too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still on the cigarettes.
Just the lifestyle. Yeah.
That was like a weird one because I feel like we talked about it before I agreed to this.
Yeah.
Of being like, yo. And I love Kirk Hamlet and whatever, but just seeing and reading Dave Mustaine's autobiography before coming into this, it gave me such a weird and distorted view of Metallica. Where those guys are fucking pussies.
Totally.
Like, they just weren't fucking about it.
Exactly.
Like Dave Mustaine was too hardcore.
You're too good to do heroin and play scales all fucking day and find new solos and shit.
Dude, for real. And that was the thing that kind of fucked with me too, is because I loved his autobiography, but it took it in such a crazy swing where he was like, and then then they kicked me out. And I'm like, you're missing out the part where you like electrocuted one of them and did
selective
this
memory there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, there's two sides to every story, and I mean, he's got to get his out there.
Yeah,
He's so notoriously like an asshole. Like doing the homework for this was fun because like Jackie, like, what's your thrash metal knowledge? None. Right?
None.
So we went
just
into like Slayer and Pantera, and I'm pulling back, and then we went to like Metallica and Megadeth, and I like Megadeth better as a band, but I grew up with like political punk rock kid or whatever. So when you have like peace sells, but who's buying and all of those things, so like Dave Mustaine's songwriting is always kind of like hit me a little
and he
bit
always
harder.
has also hit that kind of political point as well.
Yeah, totally.
He's with it.
Definitely, and it's so weird to see like if that's the main focus of his lyrics, but it's his life has just seemed to be just drugs in a basement, just 6 strings and heroin. You know what I mean? Like what else? But So when you go to see him live, we saw him with Motorhead and Megadeth. They're doing Gigantour, so every city they were headlining. And I'm a Motorhead fan, so like I was really pushing for Motorhead to headline that, but it was just a surprise. And Mustaine comes out, and Megadeth as a band, holy shit, those guys are tight. They rip. The show was great, but you can just see like this guy has no love in his eyes for like anything. The fans, the legions of people that wear those Megadeth patches all over. So you can kind of see like
so much of it felt in spite of Metallica.
Yeah,
especially after like reading the thing and everything, it felt like so much of it was in spite of them, of him being like, look, I've seen these people blow up to be fucking huge. I'm gonna beat them.
Totally.
And then when he finally fucking did, like when he put out, I'm sorry, I'm drunk and I'm blanking.
No, my God,
this
don't
is the right
apologize
place
to
for you to be drunk.
for being drunk.
Hangar 18?
Hangar 18 and all that off of, I can't believe,
Was it Rest in Peace?
Yeah, it was Rest in Peace. When he finally put out Rest in Peace and people were like, this is one of the greatest thrash metal albums of all time. I would argue one of the greatest metal albums of all time.
You're right there. Yeah,
it felt like he still couldn't quite side with it.
I think that we just did for the viewer last week's episode on Deltron 3030, we were talking about Del, and Del the Funky Homo Sapien has almost been like outshined by that album 3030 and like the Clint Eastwood song, the Gorillaz thing. Yeah. Right? So he has a 20-year body of work that I think is obviously outshined by these two, pieces of art that just fucking everybody latched onto, right? So with Dave Mustaine, you're always going to almost have like this Metallica shadow over you no matter how big Megadeth comes, because you're always still going to be like within, there's like the top 5, I think, for every genre of music. Like, I mean, for me, it's like NoFX, Bad Religion, Pennywise, or whatever on the punk rock scale, but you're always going to have like Pantera, Metallica, Slayer. I called it Pantala-death when I was in fucking...
Wasn't the term for them was it the Big 4 or the Big 5?
I think
because I feel like it was in Slayer. It was Anthrax.
Yeah.
It was Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica, and I think they just called it that. I might be wrong, but dude, I was listening to, funny enough, you brought up Pantera, because I was listening to like their biggest fucking song, Walk.
Oh, of course.
The other day. Yeah. That guitar solo is so bad.
I
know you want to go into that. I hate that fucking guitar solo.
I mean, the riff is undeniably one of the most iconic riffs of all time.
That's the thing, too.
That's interesting.
Was it Dimebag Darrell? No,
yes,
Dimebag Darrell. He is, I would say, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, but I listened to that solo, and I'm like, I love the riff. I love the song. And that solo comes in, I'm like, I fucking hate.
Dude, like a solo for me, I mean, all my favorite songs are 90 seconds long, right? So
That's
a solo,
true.
you really don't get
that punk mentality.
Big time, right? So a lot of times the solo is going to stretch the thing out anyway, so I'm going to go back and listen to it, and I'll probably confirm. But a lot of people forget that Pantera is a fucking 3-piece.
Yeah.
All of these other bands, you know what I mean, have a lead and a rhythm guitar. Dimebag fucking Darrell did all of that shit on his own, and like, I mean, with metal, like for me, a lot of times like the fans kind of spoil the band, and actually, Phil Anselmo, like the fucking singer for Pantera, is also spoiled himself. He's kind of a fucking piece of shit.
He's insane.
Yes.
I listened to like sorry, I didn't listen. I watched an interview of him recently with Rolling
So
Stones.
glad that you clarified that.
Yeah, totally fucking different. Yeah, you can, because if you listen to it, you can't see him Heil Hitler.
Exactly. Yeah. You can still absorb that information, but you want the visual.
The visual of him confirming that he's a white supremacist.
Of course.
Yeah, he's like, and it's whack too because I think his music's so great. I
totally.
think that shit's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Walk, the riff on Walk is one of the greatest riffs of all time. Like you hear it going and immediately you're amped. I think like the Blackhawks used to skate out
Oh,
to
no
it.
shit.
Oh,
I can't
okay,
recall
yeah,
the
yeah,
hockey
yeah,
team
yeah.
I remember used to skate out to it.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a
fucking
fun riff. I think
unbelievable.
everybody learns like, well, I mean, I started playing guitar very poorly, and I still do, but in like the early 2000s, so it was like Brain Stew by Green Day, like the really easy,
Dude, absolutely.
like that fucking that
I'm
walk
having
riff is
trouble
Yeah.
trying to sleep.
Dun dun dun. Right?
Yeah.
Walk is very deceptively simple, but like you
walk
can't.
is
Yeah,
so
I
good.
still
I'm
can't
just-
play it. Like because it's a hammer on and a hammer off, but to get it to sound like that, like he had the steel in that guy's veins was shot on
Dude.
stage too, man. Shout out, Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah,
rest in peace. His brother Vinny watched that shit from a drum set. Could you imagine that?
Did he really?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
Vinny Paul is
yeah,
the drummer
yeah,
of Pantera's brother,
Wow,
right? So I mean, you're at a
Jesus.
fucking show, like it's insane.
That's fucking brutal.
Yeah, his death was absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
horrific.
Horrific.
Incredibly tragic,
Yeah.
but another example of the fans spoiling the band.
Yeah, quite literally.
I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
it's a
There you
bummer,
go.
right? And I'm like, that's like when I go to punk rock shows, I'm like, oh, I'm home, I'm with my people, right? If I go to a metal show, I'm like, I need to keep my head on a swivel,
Dude,
a little
and
bit.
that's
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like the fan base for metal is so varied. Where
Totally.
so much of the
Yeah.
fan base is kind of similar to punk rock of like down with the establishment,
Mm-hmm.
fuck this shit. And then so much of it feels kind of incel-y.
Yeah,
Where I'm
yeah.
like,
It does, yeah.
yeah, it's such a weird to say, but it is a diverse ideology crowd. Where, like, look
Totally.
at
Yeah,
fucking
you
what
get the full
Or
spectrum,
sorry,
yeah.
not what Phil said from Pantera
For sure.
compared to like all these other metal
Compared to
artists.
what
I'm
like
like,
Dave Mustaine sings about every day, like what is it?
yeah, yeah, like where he's
whatever,
singing about in Holy Wars and whatnot.
Totally.
Where I'm like, this is two totally different messages.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, there's like inherent racism kind of in the scene as well, and a lot of people like don't realize that like bands like Sepultura or something that they'll love is like that's like a Brazilian band, and those dudes like you would classify as black if you saw them on the street. They might just be Brazilian or whatever, but like there's a lot of I don't know, kind of like misplaced ignorance there, and
Yeah.
and but cause I think I don't know, growing up in a small like white town or whatever, like you get to see a lot of that shit, and I mean I don't mean to shit all over the place that I come from, but at some
Yeah.
point in time you're just like, whoa, guys, like a lot of this is fucking too much, man. Can
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we kumbaya and still
yeah,
fucking
can we
still
just
shred?
like yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of falls into that, like, it's weird. It feels like these people that feel so misplaced will kind of fall into that pipeline
sure.
where I'm
Right.
like, oh, yeah, it's totally cool to love Pantera. Like, I remember for the longest
great
time I
fucking band.
had a Pantera shirt.
Yeah.
And then I remember this person from my hometown, which was mostly like an Asian white suburb,
Yeah.
started commenting on the shirt and being like, yeah, because of like fucking white power and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm not wearing this
Yeah.
anymore. Like,
Right.
this is kind of ruined
Yeah.
it for
Totally.
me. And it's weird that, sadly, Pantera became so synonymous with that whole thing.
Totally.
Right.
Where I'm like, I love their music. I hate their message.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
Yeah.
part of
right?
what
It,
their
it
message
outshines
is.
that, but when
Yeah.
Cemetery Gates comes on, you're gonna sit there and tell me it's not one of the most beautiful fucking songs. You know what I mean? And
But yeah,
that does
yeah.
kick in. Like they have it, but
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
like stopped wearing the shirt. Not immediately after that, but I was like, I don't think I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking wear this anymore.
Yeah,
Once
for
This
sure.
person started, and it didn't even seem like he was a fan. It seemed like he was like, yeah, I've seen like what Phil said about like white supremacy and this.
Yeah,
like, what was that,
yeah.
that speech he did in the late '90s, being like, you need to have white pride. Where I'm like,
Oof. Do
what are
you though?
yeah,
yeah, really, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck are you
I don't think
saying,
we're lacking
man?
white pride.
Yeah, I'm like, what
yeah.
are your audience, dude?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
fucking bring it down.
Yeah, well,
Shit,
sort
it's
of
like
like
Patton Oswalt just preaching to the choir, right? Like, I don't think anything he says about the fucking the liberal movement is gonna like shock and awe
Yeah, it's
anybody
not gonna
in,
turn
in
anymore.
his
Yeah.
audience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is weird too, because I feel like some of these people kind of have the power to do that. They see these kids getting like pipelimed into it, and then,
Yeah.
like, all you need to do is be like, "Yo, fuck that shit," and then go into a riff.
Totally.
Which I
Yeah,
think is what makes Dave Mustaine so cool.
Yeah.
is because Dave Mustaine kind of plays into that of being like, "Hey, war is not cool."
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
sort
a good
of.
message, but he's still the bad guy.
Yeah.
but-
Well, and like on this note too, what is it that got you into metal? Because like if I just saw you walking down the street, I wouldn't think there is like
no, dude,
super
totally
heavy
fair.
metal
I
fan.
feel like
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah.
would think differently if you saw
Yeah.
me younger.
Okay.
I think younger you would have been like, "Oh yeah." that
Oh,
makes
were you
sense.
wearing like skin tight jeans and bullet
I
belts?
did have skin. I didn't have bullet belts. I did have skin tight jeans. I did have very tight jeans. What got me into it mostly was my uncle.
Okay.
My uncle and my cousin were really into it, and I remember listening to it and being like, "I love this."
Yeah.
But it was weird because even then, it felt like it was like select artists. I remember being in grade, I think 6, and being given Death Magnetic. And at that point, I had already listened to a decent amount of Metallica and enjoyed
Right.
it. And even that album, I really enjoyed.
Because like critically, I don't know, I didn't read the reviews, but the fans kind of perception of that album is not great.
Good.
Not good at
Not
all.
good
Yeah.
at all.
And that one is definitely.
But like All Nightmare Long, I remember listening to and being like, wow, I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do, I think so much of like fanship is almost like the identity that you kind of cling to with the group, right? So it's kind of accepted that after I don't know, maybe like would be like Fade to Black or after. I mean, there's a certain thing like maybe like Load and Reload or something like that, and then after that you have like Metallica Golden Years, and then what everybody can kind of or what the general consensus of the fanship is like everything after that is kind of garbage, right? If you're gonna get a kid into Metallica, you go start at Kill 'Em All and stop. You know what I mean? After like Injustice or something like that. I don't know, but I disagree, right? Because it's good to see somebody like, if you're a fan of this fucking band, then you can see like the natural progression, right? Not everybody's gonna fucking keep slugging away and just keep riffing that fucking hard all the way through a 20-year career.
And that's why I love Ride the Lightning so much
Right.
in hindsight, is because I feel like you can see every single era that they hit in that one album.
Right.
Like where you see Injustice for All in like different parts of the album.
Yeah.
You see Black in my opinion, Escape. Like when you're listening to Escape, I'm like, oh yeah, this feels, and I do really like the song Escape, but I'm like, this feels poppy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
yeah,
where it gets to
yeah.
the chorus and he starts singing along with the guitar, like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, this feels very poppy, and it
Totally,
feels like it's gonna
totally.
come up later.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked Ride the Lightning so much, is because it almost, they put down like the groundwork of their whole entire career, and they're like,
Definitely.
and here we go. And like the song that got me into Metallica was one, and it was these kind of softer songs.
for
Right,
sure.
totally,
Slowly
yeah.
built up. Like
Well, this one
yeah.
has Fade to Black on it, and let's get serious. Like I think, there's a 3-song chunk in this album that we
Yeah.
were talking about it last night. That kind of blew their load early, right?
Yeah.
Because
Dude, I think
Ride
this
the
album
Lightning.
is so front loaded too.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you get
yeah.
into it, and like Call of Cthulhu to me is kind of boring.
Dude,
And
totally.
that's their
Yeah,
ending
it's-
we
track
skipped
where I'm
over
like,
it.
this is, where I'm like,
not
this
the
is
way to
what you
end an
wanted to
album.
fucking
Yeah.
end on Ride the Lightning, end on
yeah.
something.
It just kind of fizzles out. at
Yeah,
the
where
end.
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it opens too on Fight Fire with Fire, which I feel like
That's
is
Kill Them All. Like to me,
Yeah.
like that's thrash
and
fucking
Fight
metal.
Fire
That's
with
a great
Fire
opening.
Feels like
Yeah.
it's everything that Metallica should be. It's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
kind of acoustic feel, and then to this, and then it feels like there's almost an anthem rock aspect to it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
being
yeah.
at their first concert and it hit the point of Fight Fire, and then the whole audience would yell, "With fire, fight
yeah.
fire!" and
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
audience would go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this is probably their best album, which I think a lot of people would argue with me on.
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's really accessible. As someone who never has ever listened to metal, I put this on. I was like, I actually really like this.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I
yeah.
think it's kind of the branch that can bring people over. Maybe
Totally,
certain
yeah.
tracks off Justice for All.
I think for my money, Master of Puppets front to back is incredible, but I'm also a fan of lightning fast drums, and Battery is on that album. So
Yeah.
there's some elements of that album that I would, before doing the homework here, would probably say that it was Puppets, but also as I don't know, you grow up a little bit. I like how raw it is. There's a less polished kind of thing here.
feel
And
to
there's
it.
also the I also like the history too, right? This is kind of the the end of Cliff Burton, kind of the end of Mustaine in the group and stuff like that. So it is kind of like a time capsule that
Yeah, it was, in my opinion, that's kind of why I enjoyed it so much. It's just, it felt like their whole career just put down in this one album. And
Totally.
I'm with you. Masters of Puppets, great album.
Yeah.
Kill 'Em All has some tracks that are incredible.
Yeah.
And I still do really like Injustice for All. I even like Black. Black had some shit that I thought was catchy.
it's undeniably like it's for fans of Metallica that I know that I wouldn't classify as metalheads. That album is on constant rotation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the albums that could turn someone on to their stuff, is if you
Right.
just put on Black. I remember
Yeah.
doing The Road with Ola Dada. And do you guys remember Andrew Packer?
not off the top of
No,
my head.
I don't
Okay.
think so. Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very funny. But I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
we were hanging out, and I was playing Megadeth because I was driving, so I had control of the auxiliary cord, and we were up in,
course.
I don't know, we were past Kelowna somewhere. And then on the way back, I remember I put on Black Metallica, and
Yeah.
Andrew Packer's girlfriend being like, I really like this. She was like, this is a lot different from the other stuff. She was going, I enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is the album that could turn people over to
What
the
were
other
you
side.
playing
Totally,
before that was like too
I was
abrasive?
mostly
Was it,
playing
like Cannibal
Megadeth.
Corpse?
No,
Oh,
no, it was
yeah,
mostly
yeah.
like pretty accessible stuff.
Sure.
I remember playing Megadeth in the car. And yeah, it was like pretty accessible. So I was kind of surprised. And I would never hold it against someone for hearing metal and being like, I don't like this.
No,
and
of
I'm
course
like,
not.
yeah, that's
crazy to
It's
hold it
impressive.
against
yeah,
them.
that's totally
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
reasonable.
I'm getting Jack into punk rock, and I'm really doing it from a pop and ska side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna get to hardcore in a minute.
Yeah, you're showing her like Rancid.
Totally,
And you're
yep.
showing
Yeah,
her-
yeah.
yeah. Dude, I think that was the first concert I ever went to was a Rancid concert.
No shit.
Oh, no
yeah, and it was
kidding.
unreal.
Yeah,
they were
dude.
phenomenal.
That's one of my. I mean, Tattoos are one of my favorite bands of all time.
They're unbelievable.
I saw them do "Outcome the Wolves."
Dude,
which is, dude, I saw
that
them from
album-
front to back. I
that
saw it.
album is fucking incredible.
It changed
that
my
album
life.
is
I met
unbelievable.
I met friends of mine. This kid was like passed out in a gutter outside of that show. So you're leaving like Vegas, this kind of festival ground or whatever, coming back to Fremont Street. And it's just a shit show of mohawks and tattoos everywhere. And I just see this kid with like this rainbow mohawk just like passed out in a gutter. And I'm hammered, but I have a bottle of water on me. I'm like, hey man, are you okay? And his friends come around the corner and, find me. And they're like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm, Jonny, blah, blah, blah. They asked me where I'm from. I said, I'm from Canada. And they were like, holy shit, do you like drugs? And I was like, yes. And we have been friends for 7 years now. I've been down to San Francisco a bunch of times. Like I've
Damn.
toured with them because he's in a
Went
band
through
as
the
well.
Bay Area. You
I
did
love
whole
Me the
thing.
Bay,
Yeah.
bro. I love Me the Bay. But I go when I
Some
go
of
to the
that
Bay,
Bay.
I go to the Bay that nobody knows who Deltron is. Like
Yeah.
nobody knows the Funky Homo Sapien. Like all my friends are just like so punk rock and stuff. So when I go there, I have this like legitimate kind of like the experience that when I grew up listening to Rancid albums, they're talking about the Daly City Train, you know what I mean, all this stuff about the Bay Area, and I'm just like, and they're just taking me there for fun, right?
Yeah.
Like a life-changing experience, right? But yeah, that I think when a band does a full album show front to back, a lot of people like look at it like it's something so monumental.
Yeah.
And then I heard somebody say, well, if you can't fucking do that, like, why are you a band? Like, why did you release that record if you couldn't fucking play it
if
front
you
to
could
back?
play the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so when they came out and did it, that show was, it was packed, but I've never seen like a body of or like just a movement of bodies like that where like you
Right.
think you're gonna mosh. Like I'm in the right place to
It's-
pit hard right now,
yeah.
but you can't. No, like everybody.
It was also crazy because I
Unbelievable.
remember that concert. I think I was in grade 6 or something, and I remember my dad came with me, and my dad left being like, "They were fantastic."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like a dude who grew
He's
up
grade
in
six.
the
Like, what year are you in?
70s or 80s. I think it was 2008. It was right after.
It's like Dominoes
It was
or
yeah.
Indestructible?
They
Yeah,
played
Dominoes,
everything
yeah.
off of Let the Dominoes
Oh,
Fall.
fuck
I remember they were playing
yeah.
a bunch of stuff off of Let the Dominoes Fall.
Oh, dude, like
Okay.
that's another album I think that's really accessible. That's the olive branch.
It
I think
is.
to get people.
I
in,
think
yeah.
Rancid is such. It is really an olive
Yeah.
branch. Rancid brings so many people in, and I
Totally.
feel like in order to get to Rancid, then you can listen to like Sublime.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever,
Yo, yeah.
which is
Yeah.
still Sublime still holds up.
I mean,
Oh,
I
man.
begged my
Fuck
dad
yeah.
to take me to the Warped Tour. So I
Yeah.
grew up in Trail, which is about 8 hours east. So I'd come down here for like a couple weeks a year, right? Spend some time with my pops in during the summer, and it was just it became a thing where I would 3 months out, I'm like looking, for shows or whatever, and then obviously the Warped Tour was the one to get to.
Yeah.
And I met Lars Fredriksson, the guitar player for Rancid, and he just like tattooed like a bat underneath his fucking.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I'm looking at him. My pops was like,
Was
"What
it
the
him
fuck?"
or Matt Freeman that had the spider on?
Oh,
his
that's
head?
Tim.
my
Yeah,
God.
Tim.
That's
is-
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tim. is
yeah.
fucking-
Oh my God.
Very plays maybe like one string a verse,
Yeah.
but I love
Yeah.
that motherfucker. So we meet him, and I could see my pops kind of like he knew punk rock, he knew that I was going into it or whatever. But Rancid was a band that we saw that day, and we've seen them I think like a handful of times since then. Dropkick Murphys came through with them a few years ago.
Oh
with,
yeah,
like,
that
the-
was back in like what
yeah,
2016.
Yeah, the Boston to
Yeah,
Berkeley tour and
yeah.
stuff. So like I think me and my pops have seen. Definitely Dropkick Murphys, Rants. We've seen like a handful of bands so many goddamn times because I think he showed me like Social Distortion when I was a kid. So he was already definitely,
Yeah.
In
like a
that
rock and
world.
roll fan or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the punk thing is crazy because when I was just at Christmas dinner and they're listening to like Ruby Soho and stuff, and like my
Such
dad.
a great
and
song.
Yeah, exactly. We're all
Yeah.
dancing to it like this is like my family. Right?
It is
I'm just like,
amazing.
Fuck, I love this. Right?
And so much, dude, so much of that you can like Outcome the Wolves, Junkie Man.
Yes.
You can put that on anywhere, and people will be like, "Dude, this slaps."
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
certain I could show anything off and Outcome the Wolves to
Yeah.
basically anyone, and they would probably end up finding a song where they'd be like, "All right, this is fucking hard."
Totally,
right?
yeah,
There's-
yeah.
We'll get
go into a
Oh,
lot
I
of
was gonna
questioning.
ask, but I said save it for the. I was gonna say ask, but I saved it for the podcast.
Oh yes.
What
yes.
do you listen to? What's your go-to?
So mostly, so I grew up listening to classic rock because
Yeah.
that was like my dad's like huge music guy, and that's like his love. But I listen to a lot of hip hop too, and like a lot of like funk and like funk rock. I really do like every type of music. Like I feel like everyone kind of says that, but I really
to the
I
point
really
we
enjoy.
took a drive today. Out to Port Coquitlam and back to get a couple pieces of equipment and shit. So we were probably in the car for maybe like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I was in control of just a random playlist that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes from like, I mean, literally everything that you can
Dude, but
imagine.
that
like,
shit's so cool.
it was
Yeah.
great because I'm flipping through there and all, like, I mean, in the time that we've been hanging out, especially doing this show or whatever, some of my songs have like made their way into,
Yeah.
so I can tell
Yeah.
like which of the jams that she really digs. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, this made it on, right? So yeah, it
There
was
is
very
something
cool.
really cool about that, though. I always love when people put up their like or set up their aux cord and they start playing something, and it's literally everything.
Yeah.
Where you're just
yeah.
like, wow, you're going from everything here. This is cool as hell.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
granted, most of it I don't end up knowing.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
this is still so cool that you're going from funk to jazz to then to classic rock to hip hop
Yeah.
to trap music to metal. There's something very cool about
I
it.
can't
yeah.
do
Yeah.
that. Like I almost get anxiety when I'm on the aux cord because like I'm like kind of curating like this section of a thing, and I love like the umbrella of hip hop or the umbrella of punk rock. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
would be like underground or like East Coast, West Coast, or this and that, right? So I won't even like if Gangstar is on, I'm not playing Tupac afterwards because there's going to be a little bit too much funk in the bass line or whatever for it. You know what I mean? And that's like I'm
Yeah.
a fucking crazy person like that.
Yeah,
Same thing with
yeah.
like same thing with punk rock. If it's ska, then it's gonna stay ska and then slowly kind of go into like the ska punk or whatever, and then we'll transition over. Like it's weird.
I feel like I'm like I'm such a cunt with it because
Yeah.
I feel like I play stuff and
Yeah.
I'll play it and be like, oh, I want to show someone their next favorite song.
Oh, see,
Dude,
I
so
feel like
I won't play like
Yeah.
the hits where people will, and it's funny because I've been
Yeah.
at parties where people play like the hits and it always gets a bigger reaction.
Right,
There's
yeah.
always someone who's like, oh shit, and like starts going crazy if
Yeah,
Travis
yeah.
Scott comes on or someone in that realm
Yeah.
where the party will get elevated, but I'm like, I don't want that. I want to
Yeah.
have at least two people come up to me and be like, what fucking song is this?
Yeah,
you're playing
yeah,
deep
yeah.
cuts for-
Yeah, where I'm like, I don't want to have someone get crazy, even though I do
Right.
at times, but
Yeah.
I'm more in the vein of, and it is shallow of, I want someone to come up to me and be like, what is this?
Yeah.
I
Dude,
wanna know
it's
what
the
this
best
is.
fucking. I do
Yeah.
that all the goddamn time. What's up, Nye?
Hey, man.
Shout out
Hey.
to the room.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all
No,
good.
what's your take on it? I want to hear your take.
Yeah,
what do
your
you like
take.
playing?
No, dude.
Don't
we're
worry
good.
about it, man.
We're good. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
my roommate, the lovely Nike and Provo. Check him out.
Hey,
Listen
what's
to
going on?
everybody.
I'm Sean. Nice to meet
All
you.
good, brother. That's all good.
Sean. Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like such a people pleaser that like when I'm in control of the aux cord, I just want to like play something that like I know that person will like or whatever. And so that's like even when I'm driving or whatever, I'll just like let Jonny control the music because I want like whoever I'm with to be enjoying it like more than I am.
Yeah, she's a people
Yeah.
pleaser and we suck, right?
Yeah.
Like, we
Yeah,
want,
we do.
Yeah, we want the recognition. Not only do we want to, not only do we want to make the party move, we
Yeah.
want the recognition that we were the ones that made the
Yeah.
party move, and that's a problem.
And that's the thing too,
Yeah.
because I've had so many situations with my girlfriend where I'll be playing stuff in the car, and clearly she doesn't fucking like it. And then maybe every 12th song she'll just go, "Oh, what is this?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is what I was waiting for. This is what I was willing to let you suffer just for you to be like, what is this song?" And me just be like, "Oh, it's like." Not even something that obscure where I'll be like, oh, it's the Killer's Smile Like You Mean
Yeah.
It.
Yeah,
And she's
yeah.
like, I really like this. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I fucking knew it.
See, but I just
would
want the
hit it
constant
eventually.
praise.
No, well, I guess like that's a people. Okay,
Yeah.
but I've been in a relationship. I'm 3 years into it, and I think that we share the world together. But at the end of the day, like I'm playing like Masked Intruder, and she looks at me, and she's like, "I don't like pop punk." And I'm like, "I've been playing this for 3 fucking years. Like, at what point do you know? I mean, there's like the rift in the beginning of a relationship. Like, okay, how are we gonna? You show me something, I show you something. But if you like, I'm so stupid to think that if this girl's favorite band is the fucking Pixies, then she's gonna be super into pop punk when I start playing. It's fucking dumb. Right? But for me, I'm like, hey, da-na-na-na-na-na. You know, like I like a Ramones riff, but in like 2000s or whatever. Like this band's really tight. They're playing the same 4 chords that I've loved.
It's funny because I used to have an ex that had a Pixie shirt. And I would like. I remember on our first few dates, I was like, "Oh shit, the Pixies!" And she. This is what I respect about her. Obviously, my new girlfriend's way fucking better than me.
Shout out Sean's new girlfriend.
Goes without saying.
But this is what I respected about her. Is she immediately was like, "I don't know anything about the Pixies. All I know is what the." I can't
Monkey
believe
Gone to Heaven or like the,
not Monkey Gone to Heaven. What's it called?
The Fight Club had the.
I was gonna say
Where's My Mind?
That was the only song she knew. So I remember being at the SkyTrain station and someone came up to her and was like, "The fucking Pixies," and she looked to me and I was like, "Letters to Memphis is one of their most underrated songs." And the person's like, "I know, Trump de La Mont was so good." And I was like, "It was one of their best albums."
Everybody's talking Surfer Rovers, but Boss Nova slept on, motherfucker.
It was like a situation where she looked to me and was like, "Take this over. I can't fucking do it." I just immediately did.
That's awesome.
That's
dude.
funny.
It's all, like all the memes are coming around or whatever. Like poor girls that go to like shows, you know what I mean, wearing a Misfits t-shirt. Like
name 3 songs.
Yeah, but
right?
also like
if you see a friend, it's a weird American History X analogy that you hate to make, but at the same time, like you see a flag over there and you're like, that's a friend. Like I don't know anybody here. And it's like a terrible
flag.
As soon as somebody else makes a better movie with you know what I mean, with a better analogy that I can make.
It's funny though because now H&M has so much. I think they have some weird monopoly over Metallica shirts. So now if I see a Metallica shirt, I can kind of look at the person and be like, "Yeah, you're not about it."
You can see the cut, you can see the aging on it.
I can see the look of them, and I'm like,
Black Flag,
"Yeah,
and I'm
you're
like,
not."
fucking.
Oh, dude, Black Flag has become just a fashion icon.
Totally, which is crazy.
Yeah,
like,
which is like Henry Rollins would probably be going fucking insane.
Dude, the amount of legal trouble that Black Flag is like, they're all fighting each other for. Yeah. So if you go and see Black Flag live, this is an insider tip. If you go see Black Flag live, fucking don't. Because they don't have the rights to Nervous Breakdown and a lot of like the great Black Flag songs. So you will see Flag play. So you'll see Flag and they have like the 4 bars, like the Black Flag thing. And I believe it's Keith Morris singing, and it's so much better, but they have the rights to the good Black Flag songs.
Right.
So I've seen Black Flag live and I'm like really excited to get there, and you're like, okay, well Greg Ginn is the only like original member here, but all these songs fucking suck. And they just, then you go see Flag play it. It's really weird. Yeah. So they're already like in their own battle who can play their own songs. Never mind where their fucking merch is getting sold. Like So it's kind of crazy. So if you see like I won't give respect to anybody wearing anything Black Flag unless it's tattooed on their fucking neck. And I'm like, oh okay, like,
there it is.
Yeah, this guy's about it.
That's a weird thing too with the Misfits is because apparently I haven't looked into this. My friend Chris just told me, but apparently Danzig hates that the Misfits has become this cultural icon.
Right.
And apparently he'll see the shirts and be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Totally. But still go to court to battle the members for like who's getting paid off of those shirts too, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a machine moving that.
There's a few of those bands where, say for instance, I feel like if I see Metallica, if I see Outkast, it's almost getting there because I remember I went on a couple of dates with a girl who had a Megadeth shirt and I was like, "Oh, you're like a Megadeth fan?" And she was like, "No." And honestly, I can't get at people if they're straight up about it.
Yeah,
if people are honest with me, if they're like, "I don't know anything, it looks good, this shirt is popping," I'm like, "Yeah, nothing wrong with that."
Yeah,
I think it's when you start getting into people who don't want to admit that where it starts irking.
It's a really weird thing, especially like when we're adults now. Like we're not in fucking high school anymore. So granted, if you like, I remember getting a Thrice t-shirt for my birthday, and I didn't listen to that fucking band. And so I'm like, well, it's a new t-shirt. I don't have very many of these things, so I've been wearing this fucking same old Casualty shirt for a long time. And then I go to school, and somebody's like, hey, the Casualties kids listen to Thrice now. What the fuck is that? And I'm like, oh, shit, I should probably listen to this fucking band. Not into it. Artist in the Ambulance, I think. A shout out to that song, but everything else I've never gone into.
Dude, I had a Citizen Fish shirt for forever.
Dude,
do you guys know that band?
I know Citizen Fish.
Citizen Fish. I had that shirt for forever. I didn't know a fucking thing about it.
Where did you get that?
It cost me $4, and it was at the Rock Shop, and I liked the design of it, so I was like, yeah, I'll get this shirt.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird where I feel kind of like a hypocrite, but I was also very straight up where I never had
They're
a
a ska
situation,
band.
but
Yeah,
if someone was
yeah.
like, "Hey, Citizen Fish," I would have been like, "I don't know a fucking thing.
Yeah.
This is a cheap shirt. I
Yeah.
bought it. Why the fuck not?" That's
Yeah,
why I
like,
kind of
Totally, yeah.
I can't hold it against people.
Totally.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like
the
whatever.
We've all
fuck it.
been there, like,
Yeah,
you grew up,
as
but
long
I-
as you're upfront about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
But now
yeah,
we're fucking old too, right?
Yeah.
Like if I gave half a shit about what somebody was wearing on their T-shirt, unless it was like, you know, Johnny DeVito can go fuck himself, then like
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
don't have anything to say about your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Which is weird too with because the Misfits, it feels like that has become a fashion icon.
It is.
Totally,
That
Yeah.
shirt
yeah,
has
yeah.
become huge, where it's weird to see the lead singer be like, "Don't wear this fucking shirt."
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
bought one
Yes.
recently, and it's too new, and it almost gives me anxiety. Like I've took it to some
Yeah.
shows or whatever. Like I've worn it. There's a picture of me on stage with it, and it's so fucking brand new, and I'm wearing a Wu-Tang hat, and I'm like, "Okay, dude, you're trying too hard." But like I love the Wu-Tang Clan, and I'm a big fan of the Misfits. Like I mean, Walk
Yeah,
Among Us is one of my
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
fucking albums. Like I mean, of like those early days of punk, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it opened the door for like an Alice Cooper-esque thing into like the punk rock world, where now you have like instead of like like rockabilly, you have psychobilly, and like all these bands that have kind of adopted this like horror movie theme to it. So like I'm super into it. But there's something about this new Misfits shirt that I have that just doesn't
It's
feel
just giving
like,
you anxiety.
I need a
Yeah,
pin
it's
on
not
it being
worn
like,
out
I
enough.
have a fucking like, I've been a part of the fucking Misfits
That's
Fiend
like-
Club since
Yeah.
2003, motherfucker. Like,
yeah, talk to me about the Misfits.
yeah, bro,
Yeah.
I'm 20 years down.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
like,
I went to I went to go do a show in Squamish, and it was for a university. I think it's Quest University.
Oh,
in
okay,
Squamish,
right
but I went
on,
and did
yeah.
a show for them,
Nice.
and I remember talking to the people there, and one of them had a Metallica shirt on. And I was talking about it, not even being like, name 5 songs, that
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of shit,
yeah.
because they've kind of passed that point where I'm
Totally.
like, you're not so
Yeah,
much a
like-
band as you are a fashion point.
Totally.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
talking to that person, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen him so many times. And they were like, why? And
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't really ask that if you're wearing the shirt.
Totally.
Yeah,
Why?
you're in a weird point here where
Yeah.
she's like, "What? Wait, you've been to Metallica multiple times?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're
wearing a
their
fucking
shirt.
shirt, yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
scold me for,
For
going to
being an actual
concert.
fan.
Clearly,
Yeah,
you've never
yeah,
heard the
yeah.
drums of one. And don't ask me why I've been to again. You want to hear that shit? I've never seen them live, but I would love to fucking hear.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
and
it's just like
they have an entire set list that I
the
would fucking.
concert and everything is absolutely insane. The first one that I went, or one of the first ones that I went to, was my uncle took me to see the live recording of Through the Never, that like concert film they did back in 2012, I think.
Okay.
I don't know of
Okay.
any like Some Kind of Monster was the only like film of theirs other than like Binge and Purge that I've
No,
ever seen. So is this
they-
a concert?
Very recent. Well,
okay.
not very recent. 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They did Through the Never. It might have come out in 2014, but Dan
Okay.
DeHaan. Do you guys know that actor?
No.
He was one of the leads in it, but he took me to see the recording of it, and just like the amount of shit they did on stage was insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun. They have the
Yeah.
guy who gets lit on fire
Fuck yeah.
by accident.
Right,
Which
yeah.
I wasn't told, so I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
That
yeah.
man is on fire.
Yeah, it's
Someone do something.
It's me at like 13 being like, I just watched someone die. Like,
Why is no one freaking
Yeah.
out? Yeah.
yeah.
It's the greatest concert ever.
Where
Give us blood.
my uncles, they're like, fuck yeah, as this man's being burnt alive. And I'm like,
Like,
wait, why is no one doing
what is
anything?
happening?
Yeah.
This is gonna change my life forever.
Yeah, but like they purposely have a guy in a fire suit
Yeah,
get
yeah,
lit
yeah.
on fire
Oh, that's so
'cause
funny,
they
yeah.
pretend that one of the flames has a mishaps, and he runs up, and then the flame hits him, and he's like, ah,
Yeah.
and running around the screen on fire. It's
Oh,
fucking
God.
awesome. It's
Rad.
sick.
Yeah.
It's great.
But it's interesting with Metallica. We sort of had this conversation when we talked about Rolling Stones a few weeks back, but it's sort of similar where it's like they're still rocking now as like these old fellas.
Yeah, they
and
must
do
be
you
in their 50s now. aren't they?
yeah,
Easily,
and like,
I-
do you
Yeah.
do you think when you see that, is it like sort of a bummer? Like, do you get nostalgic about like them in their heyday, or are you like, fuck yeah, like rock on?
I feel like I don't, because I never saw them in their heyday.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
of
I was
course,
born
yeah.
in 96, so to me that's kind of what they've always been.
Totally.
Right,
But I can
yeah.
assume why someone who was a teenager in 84 or 86 when
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning and when
Yeah.
Kill 'Em All or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Master Puppets came out.
Well, like either way,
Yeah.
those for those 3 records came out in a 3-year span.
Dude.
Right? So if you can
Because
imagine,
what was it? It was like
hitting the fucking
84 was Ride the Lightning, right?
Yeah, so 83 was Kill 'Em
Kill 'Em
All,
All, and then
84 right,
and then
Lightning,
86
and then
was
86. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
That's crazy.
unfucking real.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
even not far from there was And Justice for All, and Justice for All I still think is a good album. And then 91 was Black.
But like
it's
coming like right on the heels
crazy.
of that, like
Yeah.
that body of work, like you could have shut the doors on that whole fucking thing. They could have lived comfortably after that.
Yeah.
Like, load and reload, and there's a lot of the hey yeah, that you could like really that a lot of people could probably do
Deep
without.
guttural.
Yeah, oh,
yeah.
right. But you can't like discredit what's going. On I don't know. Some bands get better with age, and very few, I think, right? But you can't.
I mean, you do, but then you like hit a plateau, and then
Yeah,
because
I don't think they've gotten better
Better,
since
yeah.
No,
the 90s.
Yeah.
I still do like Death Magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. There's parts of it that I like, but I definitely don't think they've gotten better.
Yeah, and I guess the draw, like when bands get to like this point, the draw is more so like nostalgia than it is like the new shit they're putting out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
a good point. It's trying to reflect back on what was great.
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to make something new that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see a parallel to that with like in comedy? You don't want to say like who's been doing this for too long and should stop. That's definitely not the question here. But like as you kind of like as even in the past couple years, the way the world's working and stuff like that. I mean, you have an album out, and now like how do you think it's going to go to the next thing that you do?
Dude, you know which one I do see a kind of reflection of that in is Chris Tucker's Netflix special.
No
that came
shit.
out, I think
Okay.
2016 maybe or
Right.
2015.
Yeah.
That was painful.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
sad to watch.
That's not
Oh,
Def
man,
Jam.
yeah.
I'm pissed off, man.
Yeah, I'm
like
yeah,
I love
yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Tucker when he
But
came
it's
out.
like
Yeah, but
on
that's
Def
not him.
Jam, he's so good and he
Yeah.
was such a good comedian. But it's kind of sad to watch his new special because it's just a recycled version of all that stuff.
Well, it's like that Seinfeld's still putting out specials, and I'm like
There's
I
like
love,
5 jokes on 5 different
yeah.
specials that are the same.
I'll
list.
say
Yeah.
this right to the camera. Seinfeld sucks. Dude, Seinfeld is a bad
a hot
comedian,
take.
man.
Oh
Seinfeld hasn't been good since the fucking 80s.
It's true.
It's all
It's
the
true.
same
Yeah, yeah.
shit. It's
and like
boring.
I love Seinfeld the show. Like I grew
Yeah.
up watching
That's
it,
totally
but
fair.
like I don't want to fucking watch a Jerry Seinfeld Netflix
yeah, of him being
special.
like,
yeah.
get on the subway.
Yeah,
Get on
yeah.
the subway. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, dude.
What's
Corny as
the
shit.
thing about reclining chairs or
Yeah,
whatever?
It's just boring.
Yeah, I don't want to
It's
hear
so
your
fucking
observations about everyday objects
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy
yeah,
to think
yeah.
that Tim Allen at one time was like cutting edge and like the new
Yeah.
guy or
Yeah.
whatever, right? But like at the end of the day, like how many fucking jokes can you have about a power drill, right? I
Yeah.
think like the comedians that have been around for a long time, I don't know, I might have to think about it a little bit more, but like Doug Stanhope keeps his fucking life in chaos, and everything
Yeah.
he releases is like you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Doug
still,
Stanhope's
might
still
not be
great.
the like everything
Yeah,
is the
well,
best
and,
or
like,
whatever,
even
but like
the-
it's not getting worse.
But
Yeah.
even like if you look at the arc of like Dave Chappelle, like he's gotten like better in a different way. Like he's not
Yeah.
who he was anymore, but it's because he sort of
And,
changed
like,
the course
I
of
think
what
Dave's at
he
that point,
evolved.
Dave Chappelle
Mm-hmm.
and Doug Stanhope's there too. There's a lot of comedians who it's weird with age. It feels like they keep getting better.
Bill Burr,
Dude,
Bill Burr,
Burr's
oh my
most
God.
recent special.
He
it was
keeps
weird
getting
to
better
watch
and
be
better,
like,
yeah.
Dude, you fucking.
It's crazy.
I don't know how you've done it, but somehow you've gotten better. You've
Yeah.
gotten more weirdly to say.
Yeah.
You've gotten
Yep.
more woke while still being just as edgy.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, this is
Same.
such a cool combination.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
I think it's because like his podcast, he like basically fucking records a special every time he does his fucking podcast.
I really hope that he has like a bit about the WNBA coming out because I listen to his podcast and he's goes like you know if basically if everybody's complaining that men make so much more than women, like go to a Lakers game and go to an LA Sparks game. If women gave half a fuck about women's sports, they would buy tickets and show up or whatever. So
Yeah.
like he says that, I'm thinking like if this isn't a bit that's coming out, and like he just gets to,
Yeah.
you know to work on
But
it.
Yeah.
he's still so fun. Like I see Norm stuff, and I'm like, this
Oh,
is fucking
God,
incredible.
brilliant.
Like, this is still
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
It just keeps getting better.
And then also
I
there's
like
like
Kevin Nealon too. Every time I see him someday,
he's
like,
so,
that motherfucker makes
he's
me
so
laugh.
funny, yeah.
but
he's
it's
so
weird. I feel
yeah.
like stand up is like the one thing where you can keep getting better at
Well,
it if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about this, I think, because we were talking even like Mel Brooks. It's like every time I see fucking Mel Brooks' name on anything, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm
I
gonna
would
watch
change
that.
my
He's
religion
I
to
love-
Jewish to just to get closer to that.
Yeah,
man.
and I love that he's still
love
doing
that,
his
dude.
thing. And I like that that's what would bring you closer.
It'd be weird if I really went through with the whole thing and showed up, but I was like, Shalom. He still doesn't give a fuck about me. That'd be
But
weird.
I think like the difference for me when I think about it is that like you can't really age out of being like funny and silly.
No.
Like you see like an old person
Like an
being
athlete.
silly. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like,
I
oh,
think
that's
it-
still hilarious. Whereas like if you see like older guys in a band like trying to rock out, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is getting a little.
And I think that's what's cool
dicey,
about so
yeah.
many comedians too, is that they don't have to play to the youth. They're like,
Exactly,
oh, I'm
yeah.
fucking older now.
This
whatever,
is where
we're
I
gonna
am,
do
and
it."
you
Yeah.
can come if you want it. You can
We're
come
like
to this.
the Rolling Stones. I'm like, why are you trying to appeal to people our age?
Yeah.
The thing is, when I see
yeah.
Mick Jagger
You're
moving his
still
fucking
up
hips,
there, yeah.
Yeah.
like, bro,
That's the thing too, is
Yeah.
I like Rolling Stones music, but I
Oh,
feel like
absolutely.
we're kind of the last
Totally.
generation
Yeah.
that's gonna be into it. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to play to us? We're already way too young for
oh
you.
for sure,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're still
Totally.
trying to do it, which is what I find cool about some of these comedians.
I
who are
would
like,
pay
oh,
money
Yeah.
just to see Keith Richards do a line of blow. Like I don't.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You don't need to
Fuck
dance and put in anything
yeah.
extra.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised this motherfucker's still alive, and
Right?
I
The fact
respect.
that he's still kicking.
Yeah,
I'd
I
go to
I
respect
love
the
it.
body of work.
Oh,
Don't
I would
fucking
love
dress
it.
it up for me. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, but I feel like he doesn't really. I think he's just like Mick out there, moving his hips and
It
doing
would
his
be
little
something,
walk.
Because
Yeah.
I read Keith Richards' Life, that
Oh,
book.
so
and
good,
It was
so
great,
good.
but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like there was something so lame about him talking shit about Mick Jagger and
Yeah,
then being
I
like,
hate that.
yeah, and
I
I'm
hate
still
that
like
shit,
with
yeah.
him, and I'm like, you fucking dweeb.
I
If
hate
you don't
that.
like him,
yeah.
fucking leave.
That like
Yeah.
whole like weird dynamic
It's a
with
$100 million
bands where
machine
like
you have
they
to walk
want to
away from,
have
I guess. That's
I
fucked
guess
up.
I've never
Yeah.
been in
I
that
don't know, me
position,
neither,
but there's
yeah, I
something
have no
that's
idea.
kind of.
like
yeah,
you-
it's bitch,
like
like-
the antagonism. Like it's like why, dude? Like you guys have been
Yeah.
making music together for like 60 years. Like just be chill.
Yeah.
Like no one
Well, it's the
wants to
same
see
with
this
I think
shit.
it's Joe Perry and Steven Tyler, where
Mhm,
apparently
yeah.
they hate one another now.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Right,
why are you
it's, like,
guys
such a
still
bummer.
Well, it's weird. Like, do what
Yeah.
Pink Floyd did and just fuck off.
Yeah,
exactly.
Roger
Yeah,
Waters,
yeah.
whoever has the rights to the thing,
Yeah.
can still perform the song. You might not be the original singer of it, but apparently, like, you go.
I
see
went to
Roger
I
Waters-
got arrested at a Roger Waters concert like 3 years ago.
This is a hot take,
What?
ladies and gentlemen. Show me yours
I got
exclusive.
arrested. Okay, I used to do this thing at concerts where me and my friend, shout out Mimsy, me and my friend Mimsy would
Damn it, Mimsy.
Yeah, dude, that's what it's called. Yeah, the South Park episode. Me and my friend Mimsy would show up with high-vis vests, and we would just wear like Timberland boots, and then we'd have like
Yeah.
steel-toe boots, and we'd have high-vis vests.
Yeah.
And so after the concert, we would just put on vests, and we'd get to go backstage and party with people. So we would go backstage, and
Oh
then we'd
my
go to the
God.
bathroom, rip the vests off, and then we'd just be hanging out with the band.
Right.
It was
Oh
like
my
it was a ton of
God.
fun. My
That's
friend
brilliant.
Mimsy- fun fact: my,
awesome.
my friend Mimsy stole the meal of Win Butler in Arcade Fire.
Oh my
He
god.
like went backstage and took food, and then on it was Win Butler, and he's like, "Oh shit," and like was already eating it. But we
my
did
God.
that. And then one time at Roger Waters' concert, we went backstage because we're like, yeah, fuck it. Like, we've done it for other shit. Why not try it here? So we put on this high-vis vest. You walk right past security because they're like, oh, high-vis vest. Who gives a
Of
shit?
course, yeah.
Yeah.
You,
Grab
you
the
have
car-
that look on your eyes, too, like, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be here.
Yeah, totally.
And if you do it with
yeah.
confidence. And then we walked by a station. We grabbed a hard hat. We put it on. So we're just walking around there. And a security caught on and, like, grabbed us both.
Oh no.
And it was wild where the security's
no.
just, like, in my face being like, yeah, you're going to go to jail. You're never going to work again. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not.
No
Why? Because
way.
you guys couldn't do your fucking job.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You guys fucked up.
Yeah.
And it was funny to see because the cop showed up and it was a bunch of security guards talking to a VPD.
Yeah.
So this VPD's like, I've seen 8 people overdose today. And then they're like, yeah, he snuck on. He impostered one of our security guards and this. And the cop's just like, all right.
He doesn't
And
have
then
an
he's
Yeah.
like,
RCMP uniform. He's not impersonating an officer. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
fuck off,
yeah.
security
yeah,
guard.
and the
He's
security
wearing
guard
a
or
hard
the
hat.
cop's like, all right, whatever. And then
Oh
he
my
gets
God.
me and he's like, all right, man, I'm going to put you in handcuffs. And I was like, all right. And I stood up and just put my hands behind my back. And it was this really weird
Yeah.
thing because I feel like if any other situation, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah,
But there
of
was
course.
something in my head that was like, you're fine.
This
Yeah.
is
Nothing's
so
gonna
that's
happen.
vibe.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is nothing. This is
Yeah.
embarrassing for them because I was able to make it backstage. And
Totally.
we saw Roger Waters
Totally.
right before he got in the limo because they
Right.
were
Oh,
like,
shit.
Yeah, they were like, they were saying, why the fuck would he hang backstage? He's almost 70.
Yeah, he's
gonna
not
go back to his
hang
hotel
out
room.
and
Of course,
party.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
But they were getting in my face, being like, you'll never work again. And I had
I thought
recorded.
you mean like you'll never work again.
Yeah.
You're not, this
But
isn't
being
show
like, you're
business.
gonna take
Yeah,
your job.
yeah,
And I had recorded
yeah.
the
You'll
guy's
never work in this town
conversation.
again,
Yeah,
kid.
exactly.
I remember a family friend of mine being like, always record an interaction with you with the police. And
Right.
it's gonna be
Absolutely.
played
Of
back.
course.
So I recorded this guy's conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and he found out, and his buddy was like, he's recording you. He's recording you. And I was like, all right, and put the phone away. And the guy's just like, give me your phone. I'm like,
Not a
no.
No.
fucking chance.
No.
Yeah,
And he's
absolutely
like,
fucking
give me your
not.
phone
Yeah.
right now. And I was like, no. And he's like, give
Yeah.
me your phone or I'm going to say this about you. And it was some trumped up shit. So I was like, fuck. And I ended up giving him my phone. I fucking
Sean, you
caved
pussed
on
out.
it.
Come on,
Dude, I caved on it. I was like,
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
watch. I'm
Yeah.
deleting it now, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I like put it back. And this cop showed up. And apparently he had threatened my friend.
You
with
can actually go
virus.
into the file that says recently deleted and upload.
Oh, see?
I got you.
But apparently he threatened my friend with violence, where he's like, "Why'd you sneak back here?" My friend was like, "I just love Roger Waters, man." And he was like, "I love hurting people." And my friend Mimsy was like, "What? Like, fucking hurt me, then, you pussy."
Yeah. What an
Yeah.
escalation.
Yeah.
You know what's so
Jesus
crazy
Christ.
is that like they're like a commitment to the job more like.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not a fan of Roger Waters.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Obviously,
He
the
just-
message of Pink Floyd has never touched your fucking heart. That like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Some kids with some fucking
He just wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah, you know, like, fuck your
yeah,
job.
yeah.
like
Exactly.
honestly, because I know a lot of people that like work. I'm assuming it's like BC Place or Rogers Arena
Dude,
or
it was
something like that.
yeah, it was. I always say
GM at the time?
GM,
Yeah,
but
me too.
it
Yeah.
it wasn't GM even at the time. It was Rogers Arena.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but regardless, like when you like you get in there, I know a lot of people that they're like moonlighting and shit. They have a regular
don't give
fucking
a
job.
fuck.
What about your childhood makes you want to go up to
Yeah.
Sean and his friend
Right.
and threaten violence because you've snuck backstage at a fight? Like that's.
But
the
you
best.
know
like,
what-
did you make that very clear? Like you are shit at your job, and that's the only reason that we're having this conversation.
No, the funny thing is both me and my friend, without checking his phone, because I was on my phone the whole time, we both stuck to the same story, because a friend of ours is who schooled us onto it, where he was like, yo, if you fucking go back there and just grab a hard hat, no one will question you.
Right.
So it was funny where both of us stuck on our story where we didn't tell our friend, where we were like, we found it on Reddit. And they were like, yeah, you found it on Reddit? We're like, yeah.
You can
It's
do
out
this at
there.
any venue in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, you can.
going
You heard it
Anyone.
here.
You
yeah.
want to. It's
I need to
crazy.
do that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And it's crazy because
Yeah.
with enough confidence, I remember I think at Arcade Fire, someone questioned us, and with enough confidence, they're
Yeah.
just like, "Oh yeah, fucking."
Bro, I've been
whatever."
a plumber for 10 fucking years. If you give me a hard hat and a vest, like
You're in.
I
Yeah.
know what I'm fucking doing.
You're in.
here, all right,
Yeah.
pal? As a matter of fact, fuck off. I got work to do.
Yeah.
But it was like it was bizarre though, because I think the part that got me the most is just because I was embarrassed because he took me outside of right outside of Rogers Arena
Right.
where there's so much traffic going by.
So
Yeah,
and
so
it was
like,
just
in like the Costco area or whatever, like right
yeah,
there. Yeah.
no, the upper area.
Oh,
was-
yeah, yeah,
okay,
but
yeah,
still,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
but
yeah.
just packed.
He
right?
Yeah,
just like
tons of
he
people.
parked me there, and it was just me sitting on the curb in handcuffs for a good 20 minutes.
Oh, for fuck's
And he
sake.
wasn't like
Yeah.
a dick or whatever, but he's like, I'm gonna leave you in handcuffs for now. They clearly want to do this, and
Yeah.
then he just like very slowly filled out a ticket, being like, "This is for public trespassing. If you dispute it, you can get the cost reducted." And he ended up not showing up, so I didn't even have
Oh,
to pay
nice.
it.
Ideal.
But
yeah.
weirdly, it was just that was probably the worst part, is because I was embarrassed sitting there in handcuffs for 20
Yeah.
minutes, being
Yeah.
like, "Hey guys," as people are leaving this venue.
That's a
yeah,
bummer.
yeah.
That is.
But it wasn't terrible. Yeah. It was give it a try.
That's-
Anyone
yeah,
give it a
fuck.
try. It works. It works.
yeah,
that
that no,
sounds
that didn't
amazing.
fizzle out like Ride the Lightning did. I
Yeah,
think, like,
no,
what
that's
you
a
need to
great-
fucking do is
A great
Bring
hot
a high
tip.
vis vest, and you're going in anywhere.
under the shirt. Like, how did you bring it in? Like, you don't go through the tickets.
I
with
brought
the
it
girls,
in, and
yeah.
I had a flannel on, and then I had Timberland boots, and my buddy had steel toes.
Yeah, you're going to a
Okay,
Metallica show, no problem.
Yeah, and then like that was
Yeah.
the first one we ever did, and then we just swapped out
Or sorry, Roger Waters,
immediately
yes.
on. Oh no, Roger Waters wasn't the first one, but
Oh.
this was like one of the first ones we did, and
Yeah.
then swapped on, and then we just walked in, and I was like, there we go.
Did you
There's
ever do
free
it again
drinks.
after that?
I haven't done it since.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't.
a
we're
little
gonna
bit
do it again.
traumatizing. Yeah.
Episode 2 with Sean is going to be the
All of
outcome.
us just going
yeah,
in doing it
Metallica.
again.
Next time Metallica comes to
No,
town.
fuck that. The first show at the rickshaw. Like, we're going.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it was fucking.
Yeah.
It was bizarre though because it worked so well, and it's funny because me and the same dude, we saw Guns N' Roses, and we got to like front of concert seats, where we just did it with enough confidence where
Yeah.
we just kept walking in, and we started in. Because the tickets for that shit in the snake pit were about $600 or $900.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're like, fuck that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So we got nosebleeds, and we just kept walking ourselves down until finally we were in the very
With
front of
vests
the
Yeah.
on, or did you do that without
Not
vests?
even with
because
vests
that's
on.
very
Yeah,
fucking
it's
hard to do.
Without vests on,
Oh.
we just did it with confidence, where we would walk
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
and be
say
like,
you
"What's up?"
can
And
you
just,
can
like,
weasel
walk
your
in.
way in there.
Yeah.
And we just weaseled our way to the very front.
Yeah.
They had.
Yeah.
I was at a show with. We were talking about Rancid and Dropkick Murphys' Boston to Berkeley tour. They did it out at UBC at a.
Thunderbird.
But at a hockey arena that they had there. Like they did Warped Tour at Thunderbird, so you were like out in the outside. But this is at like a hockey rink that they have on the UBC grounds, and you could tell that all the kids that are there are like college students that don't know what the fuck is about to happen. So everybody has these like stand seats, and I'm like, well, no, like that kid is 18 years old. I'm just gonna hop the boards
Yeah,
and just
exactly.
go
yeah.
onto the floor, and it did,
Yeah.
and it was fucking so much better. But you don't get that in a legitimate venue, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's a lot harder to do.
It's
I've
a
tried
lot
to.
more difficult.
I've always it's always been like a girlfriend or somebody that I'm dating. You know what I mean? Will go down, and like it's easier for them to get there, find a
was
seat,
gonna say,
and then
yeah.
I can come. You know, then, like you get the wave, and you come in
Yeah.
like, oh hey babe, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? Like it's very hard for
'Cause that's how
for-
I got
'cause
into
everybody's
the-
looking
Yeah.
for me to fucking
Yeah,
do that.
and that's how I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
into the very front of Guns N' Roses, where I was like, yo, my girlfriend's right there, and I pointed to this random girl, and I was like, I'll go grab her, and she'll bring you the ticket. And the girl was like, oh, no, it's fine, just go. And I was like, all right. And I walked
Nice.
in, and then my friend, same guy, Mimsy, just walked past her. And she was like, wait. And then he just kept walking.
Oh my
Sorry.
god.
And she
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah,
What are you
lost
going to
it.
do?
Yeah,
crowd.
fuck yeah.
Is that a thing? Okay, so what's the wildest show that you've ever been to? Do you think? Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with all of your
Dude.
all your antics aside,
Yeah.
like, what's
Yeah,
the?
yeah.
I feel like this is weird to say, but I think I'll probably think of something on the way.
Sure.
One of the weirdest shows I've ever been to, bizarrely, was Brockhampton.
Okay.
Brockhampton,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember being in
Yeah.
the mosh of Brockhampton and
Interesting.
thinking, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Where
Really?
a whole crowd would move this way,
Yeah.
and you would be forced to move that exact
Oh, that's
way.
what I was saying about that Rancid show. Like, there was
Yeah,
no
it was-
mosh. There was everything.
There was no,
so
and that was the
tight.
thing
Yeah.
with Brockhampton is there was no mosh. Everyone had just pushed their way to the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
So it's like you couldn't get that circle of death.
Do you
Right.
yeah, but do you
Any-
have the air suck out too? Like that's a part for me where I've been smoking and stuff like that, and I never realized like how fucked up my lungs are unless you're in a venue where everybody's breathing heavy and stuff, and you're right in the middle of that crowd, and there's no air for you to kind of breathe. Like that part always for me gets wild.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't feel that, but I remember just the moment a crowd would take a step to the right, it would just be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Ola Dada were there.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
him-
again to
Yeah.
Ola.
we
Love
went
that guy.
Another
right in
shout out to
together,
Ola.
and then it was him with his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was me with a girl who I had kind of seen in the past.
Yeah.
And I remember us getting right into it and being like, this is awesome. And then the crowd started moving and him being like, grab my hand. And like me grabbing his arm and then me grabbing the girl I was with and just
Yeah.
being like, okay, we're staying
We're going
together.
this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we
Yeah.
are staying the fuck together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
feel
at one point, a bunch of people fell over.
Right.
And I remember looking to the right, and it was just this kid with braces beside me. And I'm like, now I feel like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're clearly 16. It was
Yeah.
an all-ages event. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so fucking weird.
I feel like
Yeah.
any situation like that, if there's any sort of like mosh type vibe, I feel
Yeah.
like I'm gonna die. If I get in the middle of it, I have to just keep my distance. Otherwise, I'm gonna get trampled.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
the thing, too, is because
Yeah.
this girl that I had kind of seen back and forth showed up with someone else, but we were, like, very casual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I hadn't seen her for probably a year at this point.
Okay,
And I think
okay,
the only
yeah.
reason she clung on is being like, I'm going to die in here. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
all right,
Totally.
fucking hold on, and then just move back and
I've
forth.
done that like a few times where like the girl that you're there with in like it becomes like it's too big for you to get the fuck out. So if you're gonna do that, then like I'm lucky that I'm tall enough or like I'm a big enough body that I can kind of like protect whoever's like right in front of me. But then there's some shit that just gets so wild
Yeah.
that that's not the case. Like me and Jackie went to a show at SBC, which is closed down now, and the ramp is taken out of there. But there's a half pipe in this bar, like right on Main and Carroll. And great punk shows have been there, right? And me and Jackie are hanging out just on the top of like the 6-foot vert ramp, waiting for bands to come on. And as soon as the band comes on, I'm like, I'm the fuck out of here.
Slides down, yeah.
Because like, it's a vert ramp. Just hit it like a slide, and you get right into the crowd and go for it. And by the end of the show, I'm like, Jackie must have loved this. And I turn around and she's just stranded on top of
Just
on
stuck.
the ramp.
I'm
Still, like,
stuck on top of the ramp. But it was like I said, it was kind of nice for me because I could enjoy the show and not have to like stress about what was going on down there.
That's always like every time I'm at a show, I'm fucking 6'3" and I turn around and I'm having the best time, and I turn around and I see somebody that's like 5'5" that's just been behind me the entire time, and my heart fucking breaks. Like,
and it's also just
like
that
tap
thing
me on the shoulder because I'll go back. Right, like if I'm dancing and if you're moshing, then you can be up there. But I feel like if you're a tall dude, like give somebody a fucking break and go back.
I was on crutches when I saw Alice in Chains, and I remember like pushing to the front, and this fucking 45-year-old woman stopping me and being like, "What?" And then the guy she was with was like, "No, fuck her. Go through." Like I was like, "Yo, fuck this girl. Keep going through."
Fuck this
and
bitch.
I remember me being like, "What the fuck?" And I think I was 16 at that point, but it was like I, Mother Earth, and Alice in Chains.
Hell yeah.
And then me just being
90s
like,
a motherfucker.
Yeah, it was. And it was me just being like, "You're not going to fucking let me through?" And it was this like mid-40 woman being like, "No." And the guy she's with who looked younger than her being like, "Shut the fuck up. Let this kid on crutches
Let him
through
hobble his way
as
through
I have like
here."
a cast on my leg." I'm like, "Yeah, you bitch."
Yeah,
Going
right?
through.
Hell yeah, though. I mean, fuck. The amount of times that you get into that, like that, is this going to be a problem kind of situation at the show where, I mean, for me, I don't know, kill him with kindness kind of thing. Like I've managed to get,
I think that's the best
I
thing
managed to not get punched
I think
in
it's
the
the
face
best thing
so
you
many
can
times.
do.
Which like,
And also because
great.
it brings everything down.
Yeah,
totally.
It's
exactly,
like, why would you ever meet them with this?
Yeah, exactly.
right,
It doesn't,
like
instead of escalating.
Yeah,
things,
it's just
it,
like they're like, "Oh, whatever."
Well, totally.
There's
Especially,
like-
I mean, especially some like venues or genres and stuff like that. Like some shows that you're at, there's like you can see the guy that's gonna get it. You're like,
Totally.
"Oh fuck!" Either that guy's looking for trouble or that's the guy that's gonna get trouble. It's, you know, it's
And
kind
it's
of
a
what
thing
it is,
too,
right?
like.
But when I'm just like plowing through the crowd trying to get to the front of the stage, like there's a difference there between somebody being a dick and me just being like, "I didn't throw a fucking beer at you. It's all good, right?" Like I'm just trying to get.
Well,
to where
dude,
I
that's the
gotta
thing that gets me is I remember I was at Anderson Park and we were just trying to push to the front, and this guy freaking out over it.
Oh,
being
dude,
like,
so
dude,
many people
I'm not even fronting you. I'm just trying to get to the front.
Yeah.
And there was space between them, but I got in front of him, and his girlfriend, I remember, just ended up putting her elbows out and just jamming them into my back.
Oh my
And
God.
me being like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And then she's just like, "Nothing." And I'm like, "You're jamming your elbows into my back."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "No, I'm not." And then I was like, "Yeah, you are." And Ola stepped in and was like, "Yeah, you are."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I've seen it." And then the guy was like this dude, and he pushed me. And before I could he pushed me. And as he made contact with me, I kind of like fell forward. And he's like, "Get out of here." And I went back to step to him, and Ola was already on him.
Oh my
and there was,
God.
I'm not kidding, there was like black dudes pushing through the crowd because they saw
the
they
one
saw
black
Ola
guy,
be
like,
at this one concert. They saw Ola be like, "Yo, fuck you to this guy," and then there
They're
was
like,
like
"Oh,
guys
sorry.
being like,
Fuck him. Fuck him.
Fuck
Okay.
that.
Fuck him. Fuck him."
get to him, like pushing through to be like, "I got your back."
Yeah.
Like going through to get
Like,
to
dude,
him.
that's such
so
a. I mean, I've listened to I was listening to it last night, kind of preparing for this. But you have such the opposite version of that. Go listen to Sean's album because you have the opposite version of that. Like if a white guy gets involved in that situation,
where it's just like
Yeah.
nothing.
you know what I mean?
It was funny to see him take my grief and be like, "Yo, fuck you." And it was like as I was still falling forward, and then look up.
Yeah,
and
because
see
like, dude,
every
if I
person,
see
like,
you go down, I don't have your back if I'm 5 feet away from you. No way.
you're like, "Yeah, he probably said something fucked up." I don't know
Yeah,
the
he
story,
probably
fuck
deserved
this.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like there's a couple black dudes' spidey senses were tingling. Like there's a brother here that,
Yeah,
that might be
yeah.
in trouble.
And it was funny because
Gotta
like
go help
we
him.
got in their face and they immediately were like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like got away from it.
People
Like
get-
that guy pushing through it didn't even end up being anything.
Totally.
Right.
He was like, "Okay, whatever." And then also what made it perfect too is because there was a huge motherfucker that recognized me from stand up.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
We
That's
like
so
turned around and was like,
awesome.
"Sean McDonnell," and I was like, "Did we go to school together? Like, what is this?"
Nope, just saw you last week. Really dug your set.
Yeah. So I was like, "All right, we're fine."
Fuck
either
yeah,
way."
dude. That's awesome.
Fuck
Oh
yeah.
man. Well, I think we're at the point here. Like, I mean, any final thoughts on Ride the Lightning? I think we're gonna land the plane.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
Phenomenal
like,
album.
yeah.
Give it a listen if you can.
That's the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah,
if
it
you
was
were a
such a
fan of
good
metal
album.
and haven't heard of Metallica or Ride the Lightning, do yourself a favor and
Yeah, definitely
get
recommend
more acquainted
it.
with the
It's
genre
really
that you're in. And
great.
if you haven't, then definitely check it out because I think there's a lot there.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks
yeah.
for having me on.
Dude,
you
Sean,
guys.
Thank
thanks
you
so
so
much
much
for
for
coming.
coming.
This
This
was
is
so much fun.
This is so
Oh,
much
dude, you have an
fun,
open
yeah.
invitation. You're coming back.
Yeah,
please,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
find a new album. I'll bring it back. yeah.
Whichever you want, Brockhampton or Trap or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah,
sounds like
yeah,
you
some Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, you could definitely do Anderson .Paak,
fuck
but
yeah.
we're only getting butt naked if that's the case.
Yeah, there's
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's
Thank
get the
you.
fuck out of here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.